Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, we are back with some more tier lists, this being the best of the limited cards for the TCG ban list specifically. So these are all of the cards that are currently limited to 1, and I'm going to rank them on whether or not they should be banned, A, B, C, or they could just straight up be unlimited. So yeah, we're going to just quickly go over all of the cards, and we'll go from there. We're going to start with Striker Dragon. Honestly, this card could straight up come off of the list, and it would be absolutely fine. Yeah, it's a good card, don't get me wrong, but having multiple cards, or multiple of the Striker Dragon isn't really doing anything for Dragon Link. Dragon Link has very heavily pivoted more towards the Bestials than it has the, Rocket cards, so having access to an additional field spell that specifically special summons cards that you may not even see in your hand isn't really going to be all that useful. And we still have access to Pisty, so it's not like that really changes anything in terms of a Link 1 that you can go into. So all in all, not really all that useful. Absolutely could come off the list. Next up, we have... I wouldn't say that this could be unlimited, maybe semi. Mist Valley is not all that strong of a card. Honestly, I think it's unlimited right now in Master Duel, and it's not really doing anything. So, yeah, we'll put it here. You could definitely unlimit this card. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's not going to do anything. It's really not that big of a deal. Having multiple of it is not an issue, right? This was mostly used with Gen X Ally Birdman, which we'll get to in a second, in loops and stuff like that for FTKs. But honestly, with how many options there are, specifically with Telephone, why would you ever play this card to loop cards? That just sounds more painful. And most FTKs, especially in a best of 3, aren't really going to do anything. So, okay. So yeah, that could just come off of the list. I'm going to put Merly, Havness, and Sheeran all at C, and the reason for this is because the tier cards in particular are good if there are more of them. So if there are a lot of them, it becomes a lot better, but if they are in low numbers, it doesn't matter. So each individual card isn't really doing a whole lot, so I'm going to put them at C because... hopefully that made sense. Because, if they're limited, they're fine. So they're not really all that powerful of cards in general by themselves. It's more of what they do as an archetype, right? Still very strong cards. That's why they're not going to, could be unlimited. But, in terms of, each individual card, maybe I'll put Havness in B. I think Havness is significantly stronger. Just being able to allow you to play on the opponent's turn is kind of crazy. However, for all of the Ishizu cards, specifically the Shufflers, I'm going to put into A tier. That is absolutely absurd. Why do those exist? They special summon themselves while also giving you access to being able to deal with the opponent's cards in the graveyard. Just absurd. And then the Millers we're going to put in B tier. The Millers aren't nearly as strong. Maybe Kelbeck's A tier. These cards are very, overall just absurd. And yeah, definitely I want to put them in should be banned, but I don't think that they necessarily do need to be banned, because it's another thing where it's the more of them that there are, the more problematic they are. But I do think that the Shufflers are horrible for the game mechanic in general. I think that they just cause massive issues for Yu-Gi-Oh! So I personally don't like them, but I don't think that they're necessarily, ban-worthy. Ancient Fairy Dragon got an errata. No real reason to keep it limited. Unlimited. All of the Exodia pieces we're going to put up here. All of the Exodia pieces 100% could come off of the list, and nothing at all would change. This is on here for lore reasons, more so than anything. I think we all know that. Could totally come off of the list. Along with Final Countdown. I believe Final Countdown is unlimited in the OCG, and it's totally fine. But even if it's not, I really don't see Final Countdown ever being that big of an issue. Yes, FTKs are annoying, so I understand that. But honestly, Final Countdown is one of the easiest, or, most easily dealt with FTKs, if that makes sense. Because, well, it's not an FTK, but one of the most easily dealt with alt win conditions. So yeah, honestly, sure. Final Countdown gets up to 3. Having additional access to Final Countdown isn't really that big of a deal. Foolish Burial. We'll put it in A tier. I believe Foolish Burial should be banned. Whenever you see it, it's basically full combo with basically any deck that you would play it in, which is very annoying. And even if it's not full combo, you're able to add like interaction or like disruption or something like that just immediately to the graveyard. I think this card is just a bit too good. Yeah, it's just so very strong. I'm gonna put it above the Millers, or the Shufflers. It's just a powerhouse of card. It's crazy. Being able to send like Water Enchantress and then do full adventure combo off of that is crazy. Being able to send like a tier name, being able to send Nerval in order to do like full Tri-Brigade combo, being able to send like, I mean, the list goes on and on. You could basically send anything and it'll do good. Even just like milling your deck by one can oftentimes be enough, right? In more gummy board states. I'm going to put Gateway at C. You could probably unlimit it. I'm going to put it at C. Gateway isn't inherently like problematic in any capacity. I don't think 6M would be overly more powerful if it was unlimited, but I do specifically want to put it in C tier here because while yes, it could definitely be unlimited, I think it is very powerful for its archetype, and it allows the archetype to do a lot more and specifically play through a lot more interactions, which is why I would put it at C tier. Yes, it could be unlimited. I don't think 6M is doing anything overly exciting if it's unlimited, but it's more of just like, hey, this card's better than all of these other cards that are currently on the list. Gen X Ally Birdman is also going to be up here again for a very similar reason. It's better than all of these cards down here, but it could also definitely be unlimited. So, yeah, there you go. Appointer of the Red Lotus should be banned. This card is absurd. Being able to side it in going first when you know that you're going first, and then just being able to see it is insane. Ripping a card out of the opponent's hand when the game is basically 2 turns anyway is just too strong. The restriction as well with like revealing your hand just doesn't do anything when you already, like, your opponent basically already knows what you have because you've already searched it probably. It's just an absurd card. Should be banned. There you go. Goldsark is fine. It's like, it's okay. Should it remain limited? Of course. But banishing a card isn't nearly as powerful as like sending a card to the graveyard. But it still triggers things. It's still, like, it's useful. Speaking of other cards that I specifically hate, and I think should be banned, Harpy's Feather Duster. Why is this a card? What? Why is this allowed? Why can't I just remove all of my opponent's back row for no cost? I hate this card. This is more of a personal thing, but I also do believe that it should be banned. Even in best of 3s, where you have the ability to like go into that second game and not deal with Harpy's Feather Duster. The problem that I have is you can side this against a lot of decks and just auto win the game. I legitimately played today against a ninja player, opened Harpy's Feather Duster, going second because I sided it in, and just won the game because I drew a 1-of. This card just does so much. I think it could be banned. Could be banned. Very strong, though. Herald of Orange Light is a joke. It's a joke. The reason it's limited is because of these things. This card is fine. It specifically requires you to send an additional fairy to the graveyard. First of all, it's a fairy. Second of all, it's sending itself to the graveyard, meaning that you basically just have 2 less cards to basically do the same thing that Gamma does. Except for Gamma actually has a good effect. And Gamma special summons from the grave, and it only requires you to have the 1 card. It doesn't require you to have a second card. So yeah, this is just bad Gamma. Do I think that it could be unlimited? Because we still have Ishizu cards, I want to say no. But honestly, yeah, you could unlimit this card. I'm gonna put it here though. Both of these Infernity cards, they're good. Don't get me wrong. Infernity is still very strong. You could absolutely 100% unlimit these cards. Nothing would change. Both of them. I genuinely will say that. With how absolutely absurd of a board you can end on with specifically a Super Heavy Samurai, I do not care if Infernity with a very unlikely hand could do the same thing. It is so much more difficult for Infernity to do that same thing. They can brick so much more easily. Instant Fusion. Instant Fusion is a stupid card that should be banned. It is never used healthily. It has always had issues. Should be banned. Into the Void. I think it's fine. It's good. It's not crazy. It's not too strong. But I think the more that you add in, like, draw cards, the more powerful a lot of, like, annoying decks become. Armageddon Knight is also pretty decently strong. It's kind of Foolish Burial, but not nearly as good. This card could absolutely come to 3, no problem. Same with Minecon. Minecon was specifically used in a lot of, like, side decks in, I forget what format, with, like, Pank at 3 and stuff like that, which was fine, but didn't really cause too many issues. Monster Gate could also, Monster Gate's still strong. We'll put it up here. Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn is a very, very powerful one of. Just being able to reborn anything for basically no effect or no cost is very strong. It's never really seen much play because, not because it's bad, but more so because at 1, it's not really worth playing. Just because, like, oh, it's a bit inconsistent, but it's still just a very powerful card. If you were to unlimit it, everyone would almost everyone would be playing it, at least in the side deck, right? Being able to, like, steal a boss monster if after you deal with it, like kaiju an opponent's monster and then just steal Baron or something like that, is insane. Morphing Jar is also just a very good card. Just overall, it has very good effect. The flip effect is difficult to get off, but when it does, it changes the duel drastically. And even with that being said, we'll put it, like, here. 1 for 1 is just an insane card. It just gets you any level 1 monster, which there are a lot of. That's it. It's just a free special summon, generic, etc. Phantom Skyblaster is also a very strong card. It gets you basically just 2 monsters on the normal summon of anything, which is very good. Just, that is a good effect. There are lots of, like, Link 2s that would love this. There are lots of decks that just would want an additional monster or don't really need their normal summon, and so being able to go, like, Phantom Skyblaster is very strong. I don't think that it necessarily needs to be limited, but I do think that it's very strong. Especially because, like, you could special summon something and then normal summon it, and then you get additional tokens, which makes it even better. Reasoning is very powerful. Having access to multiple reasonings in particular is very strong, but even limited to 1, being able to go activate Reasoning and then, like, mill out your entire deck on, like, Eldritch or something like that is very, very good. It's just a card that's, like, ripe for abuse. So there you go. Rhoda is still very strong as well. I'm going to put it at the top of B tier. I don't think it's quite as good as, like, Reasoning. Actually, I'm going to switch these. I think Reasoning's not as good as Rhoda. Rhoda just, there are so many warrior monsters. All of them are good. Seismitoad or Substitute could totally be unlimited because of Ronin Totem being banned. No real problem there. Same with TG Hyper Librarian. I really don't know why this card is limited in any regard. Sure, you could draw a million cards with the Synchro combo. To be fair, if you're already doing that, there are so many better options that you could go for. Like, having the ability to draw a million cards doesn't really matter. So yeah, I really don't know even why that's limited. Terraforming is so very good. There are so many really, really strong field spells in the game. Generator Boss Stage, to Necro Valley, to Perlarino, to etc, etc. You get the idea. Time Seal is a joke. Why is that card limited? Upstart Goblin is basically the same thing as Into the Void, except a little bit easier to activate. 1 Day of Peace is just on there for stall reasons, so it's not all that great. It's just a stall card. Emerald, why is this card limited? Why? Huh? I didn't even know that card was limited. Okay. Master Diamond is a very good card. Being able to copy an effect is always good effect. Collapse Serpent and Wyver Burster are also very good cards. I do think that they could probably come to 3, but I am going to say that they are still very good. Judgment could absolutely be unlimited. Tempest is also very, very strong. Just a good card. The problem with a lot of the Dragon Rulers is the fact that they are, in mass, very powerful, but individually, they're not all that great. And while Tempest is still very strong, it is very limited in how strong it can be. Card destruction is very good. I'm actually going to put Tempest here. There we go. Chain Strike could... Yeah, Chain Strike could be unlimited. 100%. Steam the Cloak. Steam the Cloak. Steam the Cloak. Steam the Cloak. I'm going to put the... This one's hard to say. Because you could just straight up unlimit this and it's not really doing anything because it's a hard once per. Yeah, it's a once per duel. You could unlimit that, no problem. Change of Heart is just very good. Just a very good card. Similar to Monster Reborn. The more of it that you have, the more insane it becomes. It's not like Minecon where like you can only steal specific monsters. Yeah, it's just like a free whoop. Terror Top is also just absolutely insane. It gets you access to basically either 2 level 3s to go for like XZ plays or Link plays or just like free material. But you could also search for a tuner with that. You know, you play a Speedroid tuner, and all of a sudden now you have the access to a Synchros play. So yeah, just a crazy card. Omega. I get why it's limited, so we're not gonna say you could unlimit it. Yeah, being able to rip a card out of your opponent's hand is very strong overall. That's basically it. It's kind of... Yeah, anyway. Beatrice could be unlimited. I'm gonna say it right now. It could be. But man, does it have some good effects? The thing is, like, you either ban it or you unlimit it. Because most people are just playing one. If you're playing multiple, it's not really changing anything. Like, what, you're gonna make it with more Bastiles? You're either playing some sort of jank that has the ability to utilize multiple Beatrice, but most of the time you're just playing the one. Absolutely insane card, though. I'm actually gonna put a look up of all of this stuff. Monkey Board is also a very, very good card. And it could still go to 3. But, yeah, this card's just very good for Pendulum in general. Pendulum just doesn't really have a good payoff at the moment because of, like, I don't know, a myriad of things. But yeah, Monkey Board is very strong. Draco Face-Off. I mean, it's good. It's very specific, though. I really don't think that it needs to be limited. This card should just be banned. Card of Demise is just never healthy. It's never good. You could ban this card. This card is almost always a +3, or even at the very least, it's a +2. Most decks that are playing it can just get a free generation of cards. It isn't the most playable. It's just not very fun to play against. Similar to things like Harpies, where it's like, yeah, it's not going to determine every game, but like it just shouldn't be around because it's not cool. Or like Instant Fusion, you know. Lunalight Tiger should also probably be banned. I hate what this card does to specifically Lunalight and to specifically any sort of combo deck where you just end on Caliuga. I don't like this card. This card is crazy. Yeah, why does this not have a hard one sphere? And why is it a pendulum? That's my question. Just curious. Just kind of absurd. Midbreaker Field is strong, but not crazy. It's good. You know, having additional protection is always nice. Quick Fix is also very, very strong. Spiral is just good in general. Quick Fix is very good overall. It just... Not insane, but very strong. Rapier, for some reason, is limited. I always forget that this card is limited. Rapier. The thing is, like, Rapier itself is similar in nature to the tier cards, where it's like, it's not so much that it itself is insane, but it's more so that, like, the, like, maximizing out on that card is what makes it insane, and, like, the actual Zodiac engine that has, yeah, like, the Zodiac stuff is what makes it really strong. So I'm going to put it in C tier. Actually, it's probably closer to, like, Halfness. It's good. That's it. Misk. I hate this card for personal reasons, so I'm going to say it should be banned. This card is insane. It just turns off all of your opponent's interactions and like you just get a free board. You just get to make a free board going first. It's insane. This card should be banned. There you go. I just don't like the way that it works. In all honesty, it's not like actually all that strong in comparison to like terraforming, which is just a generic search of a field spell. But like no. Astrograph. Astrograph is it's a decently good card. Definitely can't be unlimited, but it's a good card. Draconic Diagram is also, and honestly, it's not. It's fine. It's not great. Set rotation. Set rotation is okay. Cyberjar is fine. We'll put it next to the other jar. Cyberstein should be banned. There you go. Cool. Moving on. Cyberstein is stupid. The ability to end on like Exterio on top of your end board if you don't need your normal, or you have a way to special summon out of this guy. Like for example, with the with Super Heavy Samurai being able to like special summon this as a pendulum summon, if you just like happen to draw into it, it's absolutely stupid. So yeah, there you go. Sekka's Light could 100% come to 3. This card is not doing anything. Sure, having a Pot of Greed is fine, but we also have access to Pot of Desires and Prosperity. Why is Prosperity not limited? Anyway, Called By. Called By is an absolutely absurd card. I'm not going to say that it should be. I mean, it should be. But it's a very strong card. I'm going to put it like above all of... Put it right there. Engage. Engage isn't inherently all that powerful. I'm going to put it in B tier. It's very, very strong. It's also just kind of Pot of Greed. But yeah, it's... The more of it that you have, the more problematic it becomes, and the more that you have to specifically deal with it. As like an engine. Yeah, Engage is insane. Hornet Drones. Why is this card limited? This card could totally be limited. You could unlimit this card, nothing changes. Multi-roll. Multi-roll is also limited? What did they do to Sky Strikers? Just ban Engage, keep it banned, and it's totally fine. That deck is totally fine. Engage is the problem, obviously. Slash Draw. This card does stuff. Does it do anything interesting? Not in the slightest. Pink. Pink, I would say it shouldn't be banned, but it is absolutely a powerhouse. Again, very similar in nature to the other two cards that are next to it, that being Monster Reborn and Change of Heart, where it's like, if you have access to 3 of this, you can just side in a board breaker that's also a big monster. And it's a 7, which is absolutely absurd because Kashtira exists. So yeah, Pink is a powerhouse of a card. So there you go. The dangers are, they're honestly very strong. Like, both of the dangers are very strong. Being able to give you a free body on the field, basically guaranteed, or also being able to draw you a card while giving you a body on the field is kind of crazy. This card should not be limited. It's limited here because of Hulk, and like exclusively Hulk stuff. Why is this card also limited? Gazelle could totally come to 3. It's currently at 3 in Master Duel and doing jack shit. Dark Grepher is a very good card overall, but it's very similar in nature to Armageddon Knight, except with the ability to also special summon itself from hand, which only really helps in like Orcus stuff. But it's still like a decent card, being able to send a monster to the graveyard while also getting a material onto your side of the field, while also being able to, you know, potentially set a or send a monster from your hand as well in case you needed to do that. But it's kind of limiting. Overall, still a very powerful card. So there you go. Yeah, that's the list. I just saw this and was like, hey, I need to do this because this is cool. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and if you did indeed enjoy, a like is very much so appreciated. And if you want to check out more content like this as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.